Imagine for a moment that everything you thought you knew about Adam and Eve was only part of the story. We are told about Adam, the first man, about Eve, the first woman, about their sons, Cain and Abel, whose tragedy marks the beginning of humanity. But what if I told you there was much more? Forgotten daughters, mysterious unions, forbidden traditions, and even answers that the Bible seems to have deliberately left in the shadows. Welcome to a journey through the scriptures, the apocryphal books, and ancient traditions. A journey where we will explore a mystery rarely addressed. Who were really the other children of Adam and Eve? And above all, who was Cain's wife? The answer we discovered by analyzing every word of the Bible will shock you. After Abel's murder, Cain is cursed by God and forced into exile. But this is where one of the greatest mysteries of all Genesis emerges. Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bore Enoch. Then he built a city, Genesis 4 verse 17. Stop. Ask yourself one simple question: which wife? Up to this point, the Bible had only mentioned Adam, Eve, Cain, and Abel. Abel is dead. So where did this wife come from? And how could Cain build an entire city? This is where the real questions begin. Multiple hypotheses exist. The classical version. Some claim she was simply a daughter of Adam and Eve, as it is written that Adam begot sons and daughters. Genesis 5 verse 4. In this logic, Cain would have married his own sister. At that time, theologians explain, incestuous marriages were not forbidden. The apocryphal version, the Book of Jubilees, an ancient but non-canonical text, reveals the names of these forgotten daughters, Awan and Azura. Some Jewish traditions say Cain married Awan, his sister. But why did the canonical Bible leave out these details? Was it to simplify the story, or to hide a disturbing truth? The forbidden version, when Cain tells God, "Whoever finds me will kill me," Genesis 4 verse 14. It implies that other humans existed outside the direct line of Adam and Eve. Who were they? A parallel humanity? Descendants of a pre-Adamic world? Or even the first offspring of unions between fallen angels and the daughters of men, mentioned in Genesis 6 verse 2? This mystery becomes even more troubling when we read that Cain did not merely start a family. He built an entire city, Genesis 4 verse 17. A city is not built for 2 or 3 people. This means that peoples, clans, and an organized society already existed to receive him. So, was Cain's wife simply his sister, as some texts claim? Or was she proof that before Adam and Eve, others were already living on this earth? But before uncovering this mystery that will make you question the entire Bible, don't forget to subscribe and write "I am a child of God" in the comments to show once again to God that you love him. The forgotten daughters of Adam and Eve, Awan and Azura. The official story of Genesis mentions only the sons of Adam and Eve, Cain, Abel, and Seth. But the Book of Jubilees and other ancient traditions reveal a long-forgotten secret. Adam and Eve had daughters, and these women played a crucial role in the survival and development of humanity. The first of these daughters is Awan, often identified as Cain's wife. According to the Book of Jubilees, Awan was born 2 years after Cain, making her slightly younger than him. Her name, in ancient Hebrew, carries multiple meanings associated with sorrow, sin, vanity, but also strength and desire, a duality that seems symbolic. Awan was born into a world already marked by murder and exile, yet she carried the power to continue the human lineage. When Cain was driven from God's presence and went to the land of Nod, Genesis 4 verse 16, it was Awan who walked beside him. Together, they founded a family and gave birth to Enoch, the first known descendant of Cain's line. But that was not all. Cain built a city in honor of his son, Genesis 4 verse 17. Imagine, this city, the first symbol of human civilization after paradise, was made possible by Awan, a woman whose name remains absent from the canonical biblical narratives. The second important daughter is Azura, initially promised to Abel according to some traditions in the Book of Jubilees. After Abel's tragic death, she was given in marriage to Seth, the third son of Adam and Eve, Genesis 5 verses 3 to 4. With Seth, Azura gave birth to Enoch, and it is through him that humanity began to consciously seek God. Enoch is associated with the first mention of prayer. Then man began to call upon the name of the Lord. Genesis 4 verse 26. Thus, Azura becomes the mother of devotion and the return to the divine, while Awan remains linked to exile and human civilization in a corrupted world. These women are not mere secondary characters. Their story reveals several fascinating points. The spread of humanity. Adam and Eve lived for several centuries. According to the Book of Jubilees, Awan and Azura were young and fertile in a context where human longevity allowed simultaneous generations. They thus contributed to quickly populating the earth. Necessary and controversial unions. Incestuous marriages were inevitable. Awan married her brother Cain. Azura married her brother Seth. These unions, taboo today, were pragmatic and vital for the human species. They show that God never neglected the survival of humanity despite the chaos of sin. The symbolism behind their names and roles. Awan, exile, survival in a corrupted world. Continuation of life despite sin. Azura, purity, spiritual elevation, rebirth of piety and worship of God. The juxtaposition of two lineages. Cain's line through Awan is marked by exile, human civilization, and primitive technology, city, craftsmanship, agriculture. Seth's line through Azura is marked by spirituality, prayer, and divine worship. These two branches coexist, sometimes in conflict, sometimes complementary, laying the foundation for later biblical stories, up to Noah and the construction of the ark. The mystery of their omission. Why does the Bible not mention these daughters by name? Perhaps to preserve spiritual linearity and focus attention on male figures, or to protect truths considered delicate, such as the incestuous marriages necessary at the time. Yet without them, the human lineage could never have existed, nor the transmission of God's worship to Enoch and his descendants. In summary, Awan and Azura are invisible pillars of human history, erased from canonical narratives, but central to population growth and spiritual continuity. One represents life in exile and civilization, the other life in piety and return to God. Together, they carry humanity's burden and hope after the fall, paving the way for the great biblical figures to come. After Cain's exile and the necessary unions with Awan, humanity begins to diversify along two fundamental axes. Cain's lineage, marked by exile, civilization, and human power, and Seth's lineage, marked by piety and closeness to God. These two lineages define the drama of human history before the flood. One, Cain's lineage, civilization and exile. Cain, now marked by God for protection, leaves the Garden of Eden and settles in Nod, meaning wandering, Genesis 4 verse 16. With Awan, he founds a family and gives birth to Enoch, the first heir of this new civilization. But Cain does not merely survive. He builds a city in honor of his son, Genesis 4 verse 17. Imagine, the first human city after paradise, born in a world still wild, isolated, and dangerous. This is where arts and techniques begin to develop. Agriculture and animal husbandry. Cain was a farmer, but his descendants perfected tools, plowing techniques, and animal domestication, architecture, and urban planning. The city of Enoch becomes a model for future cities, symbolizing nascent civilization, music, and craftsmanship. The Book of Jubilees mentions instruments being invented, creating a distinct and influential human culture. This lineage represents humanity in its earthly and material dimension, power, innovation, but also independence from God and susceptibility to sin. Cain's descendants live with the memory of the original murder, jealousy, and a potential for corruption and violence. 2. Seth's lineage, spirituality and piety. Meanwhile, Seth, Adam and Eve's third son, marries Azura, and from their union is born Enoch, Genesis 4 verse 26. It is through him that humanity begins actively seeking God. Enoch's birth marks a crucial step. Then men began to call upon the name of the Lord. Seth's lineage is distinguished by transmission of divine knowledge. Adam passes on God's ordinances, festivals, Sabbath observance, and laws of purity and justice. longevity and family cohesion. With lives spanning centuries, generations overlapped, allowing direct and prolonged teaching. Spiritual preparation. This lineage prepares the ground for figures like Enoch, who walked with God and was taken to heaven without dying. Soon, the two worlds intersect. Seth's descendants, pious and devoted to God, begin interacting with Cain's descendants, rooted in civilization and sometimes corruption. This interaction leads to mixed unions. The sons of God, descendants of Seth, take wives from the daughters of men, descendants of Cain, introducing temptation and the mixing of lineages. Genesis 6 verse 2. The birth of the Nephilim, giants and violent men, symbols of increasing corruption on earth. These beings embody the deviation of human and divine gifts, a mixture of physical strength and spiritual sin. 4. The genesis of corruption before the flood. Civilization progresses, but morality declines rapidly. Cain's descendants spread violence and domination, while some of Seth's descendants succumb to the allure of the material world. Ancient texts recount the Nephilim teach forbidden arts, witchcraft, and astrology. Humans begin to corrupt all creation, livestock, birds, and even the earth itself. Bloodshed, war, and destruction become pervasive, to the point where God regrets creating humanity. Genesis 6 verses 5 to 6. Through these lineages, one sees humanity's fundamental duality: material civilization and progress on one side, piety and faithfulness to God on the other. This duality will be decisive for the flood and Noah's story, which marks humanity's restart from the faithful lineage. The Nephilim and the Watchers. Humanity corrupted before the flood. As generations spread, a shadow grows over the earth. Cain's descendants thrive in their cities, but sin and violence multiply. Meanwhile, Seth's lineage, though devoted to God, begins to be influenced by the material world. It is in this context that the Nephilim appear, formidable and mysterious beings embodying corruption and misused power. The Book of Genesis, chapter 6, states, "The sons of God saw that the daughters of men were beautiful, and they took wives for themselves of all they chose. From these unions were born the giants, the Nephilim." These beings are the inverted alliance of divine creation. Physically powerful, some ancient texts describe them as giants, capable of dominating through strength. Violent and cruel, they instill fear and oppression among humans. Symbols of disobedience. Their existence represents the fusion of righteous and corrupt lineages, perverting God's original plan. The Hebrew word Nephilim means the fallen, reminding us that these men embody a toxic mixture of human and divine misused. Behind this corruption are the Watchers, angels who descended from heaven according to the Book of Enoch and the Book of Jubilees. Their role was originally protective, but their fall transformed human history. Forbidden marriages with human women. By taking human wives, they broke the natural and divine order. Transmission of forbidden knowledge. They taught witchcraft, astrology, alchemy, war, and magic, giving humans secrets they were not meant to possess. Creation of hybrid creatures. The Nephilim are partly the result of these unions, living symbols of the earth's corruption. These Watchers and Nephilim intensified disobedience and chaos, turning the world into a place where violence and injustice became commonplace. All humans, animals, and birds begin to deviate from their natural order, feeding on one another and corrupting creation. Bloodshed becomes ubiquitous, and cities prosper while becoming dens of depravity. Even Seth's descendants begin to mingle with the daughters of men, creating a mix of faithfulness and corruption. The Book of Jubilees notes that the angels observe these generations and see how humans grow powerful but wicked, while the Nephilim establish themselves as cruel demigods, feared by all. 4. Divine response. Faced with this chaos, God feels deep regret for his creation. Humanity, made in his image, turns completely away from him. Every thought and action leans toward evil. God's heart is filled with sorrow, and he announces an inevitable judgment. The flood, intended to purify the earth and preserve Seth's faithful line. Thus, before the flood, The earth is a mixture of extreme violence, forbidden magic, giants, and spiritual corruption, with only a few families faithful to God, preparing the ground for a new beginning with Noah. Noah and the flood, humanity's new beginning. In the heart of this corrupted world, a glimmer of faithfulness remains. Noah, a descendant of Seth and bearer of Azura and Enoch's lineage, is described as a righteous and upright man. He lives in an environment dominated by violence, giants, and countless sins, yet he resists the surrounding evil, remaining steadfast in his relationship with God. Genesis chapter 6 recounts that God, seeing the extent of evil, laments, "The earth is corrupt in God's sight, and every intention of the thoughts of its heart is only evil continually." God decides to reset creation, but he does not want to erase humanity entirely. Noah is chosen as the instrument of this renewal. God gives him precise instructions. Build a massive ark to protect his family and every species of animal. The ark becomes a symbol of divine protection, faithfulness, and obedience. Noah does not yet fully understand, but he obeys, demonstrating exceptional faith, working for 100 years while the world mocks him. The ark is not just a boat. It is a floating sanctuary, a fortress against divine judgment. Every dimension, every compartment, is meticulously detailed. Noah gathers animals in pairs or according to reproductive law, ensuring the survival of all species. The construction demands patience, endurance, and discipline, qualities that contrast with the chaos prevailing on Earth. Meanwhile, violence continues to reign. The Nephilim, already numerous, grow even more cruel. Corrupt humans ignore divine warnings, driven by pride, greed, and the witchcraft taught by the Watchers. When everything is ready, God unleashes the flood. The waters cover the earth. Mountains disappear beneath the waves, and the cities of the Nephilim are engulfed. Blood and violence are washed away, but the faithful lineage is preserved. The ark floats, keeping Noah, his family, and the animals safe from total destruction. This trial teaches a profound lesson. Divine justice is relentless toward evil, but faithfulness is rewarded. God did not destroy out of anger, but to restore, offering humanity a fresh start. After months submerged, the ark rests on Mount Ararat. Noah exits with his family and the animals. He offers a sacrifice of gratitude, and God establishes an eternal covenant, symbolized by the rainbow, ensuring that such destruction will never recur. The flood becomes the bridge between the old corrupt world and the new world, where Seth's faithful lineage can multiply and rebuild according to God's plan. Noah is not merely a survivor. He is the guardian of the memory of faithfulness, enabling humanity to continue despite the chaos and corruption that had overtaken the earth. After the flood, the world is reborn from chaos submerged under the waters. Rivers dry, mountains reappear, and the earth, though fragile and virgin, begins to welcome life again. This time, the world is different. Evil has been purged, and Noah's faithfulness becomes the foundation of a renewed humanity, a starting point to rebuild not only cities and fields, but also the connection with the Creator. Noah's family disperses, forming the First Nations, but what matters most is the transmission of sacred memory. From Adam, through Seth and Azura, to Noah, each generation preserved divine teachings, fear of God, justice, purity, and respect for commandments. This is not merely cultural inheritance, but a spiritual flame illuminating humanity even in a world still marked by chaos. It is with Enoch, Seth's grandson, that history takes a decisive turn. For the first time, humans begin to call upon the name of the Lord. This seemingly simple act is a true awakening. It marks the moment humanity understands it cannot rely solely on itself. It needs its Creator. Prayers, songs, and praises arise, laying the foundation for an intimate relationship between humans and God, enduring through the centuries. In this faithful lineage, Adam's teachings are never lost. The Book of Jubilees reveals that laws, purity rituals, festivals, and the Sabbath were passed down through generations as a living inheritance. This sacred knowledge is not abstract. It shapes every action, every decision, and becomes the guiding thread of daily life. Seth's lineage is thus distinguished by faithfulness and righteousness, a striking contrast to Cain's descendants. Meanwhile, the other lineage follows a radically different path. Cain's descendants, living in the shadow of violence and pride, build cities, forge weapons, and invent instruments, pursuing power and domination. Two worlds coexist, two opposing trajectories that intersect, clash, and set the stage for events that will profoundly alter humanity's destiny. Imagine a world where human life is not limited to a few decades, but stretches over hundreds of years. Adam lived 930 years, and Eve also had an exceptionally long life. In this endless time, each generation was not merely a succession, but a true flourishing of lives. Ancient texts suggest that their fertility was unlike anything we know today. Dozens, perhaps hundreds of children were born, each carrying a fragment of this nascent humanity. Every birth added a nuance to the palette of the human species. Different physical traits, different abilities, and even unique spiritual inclinations. From the very first children, diversity was already present, laying the foundations for a plural world. The parallel with modern science is fascinating. Research on mitochondrial DNA shows that all humans descend from a single original woman, nicknamed mitochondrial Eve. As if, from the beginning, science confirmed what ancient traditions described. A unique couple, yet a flourishing human diversity from the very start. This superhuman fertility was not only physical, but also linked to destiny. Each child, each lineage, prepared the ground for the stories, choices, and conflicts that would shape humanity before the flood. It was a world where multiplication was not merely a biological fact, but a theater of possibilities and intertwined destinies. In biblical narratives, women often seem relegated to the background. Their names rarely appear, their actions barely mentioned. Yet behind every great lineage, every destiny shaped by God, they were the invisible pillars of humanity. Take Awan and Azura, for example. Awan, the first daughter of Adam and Eve, accompanies Cain into exile. Without her, Cain's lineage, marked by exile and rebellion, would never have survived. Every child they had, every city they built, carried her silent yet essential presence. Azura, meanwhile, became Seth's wife. Through her passed the line of the righteous, leading to Noah and the preservation of God's plan. But their role was not limited to procreation. They were guardians of sacred memory, transmitting the story of Eden, knowledge of divine ordinances, and the remembrance of the connection with God. These women educated, protected, and inspired their children to walk in the ways of the Lord, even before laws were written on stone. Later in biblical lineages, women like Naamah, Sarah, Rebecca, Leah, and Rachel quietly stand behind every major event. They give life to nations, bear the weight of divine continuity. Without them, God's promises would have remained suspended. In short, while men build cities and fight battles, women weave the roots of humanity, shape values, and maintain God's light amid the darkness of this nascent world. Their role is central but subtly veiled, like a secret revealed only to those who look closely. Mystical conclusion and call to reflection. As we journey through these ancient accounts, an invisible thread emerges. Humanity is woven with mysteries and silences known fully only to God. Who really was Cain's wife? How many lives and stories were erased from the canonical texts? Every forgotten name, every silence in Genesis, hides a truth greater than we can comprehend. What we can grasp is that behind every exile, every city built, every lineage, there is a meticulously orchestrated divine plan. Awan and Azura, Naamah, Sarah, Rebecca, Leah, and Rachel, all these silent women were guardians of life, memory, and the connection to God. Without them, the light would have flickered, and humanity's continuity would have been compromised. But the mystery goes further. Genesis is not just the story of men and women. It is a story of choices, temptations, rebellion, and redemption, of lineages crossing and clashing, from the violence of the Nephilim to the faithfulness of Seth's descendants. Amid this chaos, God chooses, protects, guides, and prepares humanity to be reborn again and again. We are invited to meditate on these stories, not to understand everything, but to learn trust, recognizing that every silence, every missing detail, is part of a larger plan. These stories remind us that life is fragile, precious, and that each generation bears the responsibility to walk in justice and faith, honoring those whose names were forgotten, but whose roles were fundamental. Through the mystery of Cain, his descendants, and the silent women of history, we confront a universal truth. God's hand guides humanity, even when we believe we walk alone. And this mystery, far from frustrating us, should inspire us to seek, question, and above all, live consciously and humbly. Did you know that before Adam and Eve, a world existed, then God erased it and recreated all things? The mystery calls to you. To uncover it, click on the video to the left and explore the hidden depths of the Bible that no pastor dares to approach.